Ever wonder what it's like to drive from southern Ontario to southern Vermont? Well, you're in luck. Follow me as I drive over 1,500 kilometers to discover new superchargers and experience issues with my car. Towards the end of the video, I'll break down how much I ended up spending on charging my car and go over would it have been cheaper to take my girlfriend's Civic instead. You'll have to wait until the end to find out. That's just about the best cliffhanger I got for you guys. I'm somewhat of an expert script writer, as you could tell. The journey started in Oakville, Ontario, where I drove from my job at Shift Electric Vehicles to my place in Hamilton to pick my girlfriend up. I'm very familiar with this about 32-kilometer route as I drive it almost every single day. We then set off to Batavia, New York as our first supercharger stop of the trip, which was about 148 kilometers away. In case you're curious, I've posted a supercharger review video for each of the 7 stops on this trip. I'll link them in the description below if you want to check those out, or they should be popping up on the right hand of your corner of the screen. Anyways, this was more of a pit stop to use the bathroom, so we're only there for a few minutes, and this charge stop ran me $7.92 US, or in actuality, $7.96 Canadian. The conversion from American to Canadian funds weren't perfect, and I'll be mentioning throughout the video what the car showed on screen in USD, as well as what I actually ended up paying in Canadian. After admiring the Rivian in the very fitting Rivian blue, we drove another 215 kilometers to Ithaca, New York, where we'd stay the night. It was New Year's Eve, so everything was closed, so we ended up watching the Americans crush the Canadians in the World Juniors Tournament. Real bummer of a night. This stop cost me $16.41 US, but in reality cost me $24.24 Canadian. The following morning, we checked out Buttermilk Falls, which wasn't too far from where we stayed. Nice little spot. Unfortunately, it was closed for the season. I would have loved to hike up along the water and really take in the scenery. After some sightseeing, we set off to the Rotterdam Supercharger, which was 239 kilometers away. There really wasn't much around the supercharger, so after giving Tesla $13.07 US, or $19.31 Canadian, we left. After quite literally rolling out of the Olive Garden, no thanks to their unlimited breadsticks, we made our way to Bennington, Vermont, where we'd stop and charge before arriving at our final destination of the night, or so we thought, Mount Snow Ski Resort. The jaunt from Rotterdam to Bennington was 109 kilometers, or 68 miles, but tack on a few more kilometers to account for that lunch stop. We didn't need to stay for all too long as I knew the resort had chargers. I just wanted enough so that we could make it there and back should the chargers have been broken or all occupied or under maintenance of sorts. After complaining about Tesla's auto wipe feature,
look at the auto wipers going crazy.
We stayed for a few minutes and spent $5.39 US, or $11.70 Canadian, on this charging stop. So far on this journey, we hadn't seen much snow, in fact, no snow at all. However, not long after Bennington, the snowflakes started to fall down, quite heavily in fact. Really nice to see after not having much snow back home. I was slightly worried about the slick conditions and how my rear-wheel drive Model 3 would handle the undulating snow-covered hills, but it was fine. Never once did I lose control, skid, or anything along those lines. Yes, I do have winter tires on my car, for those wondering. We arrived at the resort after driving 44 kilometers, or 27 miles, from Bennington. One slight issue. I forgot to bring a bathing suit, as well as tell my girlfriend to bring one for herself, as there's a really nice heated outdoor pool. Well, we can't stay here for 2 nights and not go in the pool. So the hunt for bathing suits began. Of course, being more or less in the middle of nowhere, we checked a couple local shops, but ultimately had to drive to the nearest Walmart, which was 47 kilometers away in New Hampshire, a whole different state. So here we are in the middle of nowhere without cell service on our phones, and my car decides to completely glitch out in a way I have never seen before.
What the hell's going on? So park assist unavailable. I don't know my speed. I don't know my state of charge. Do I try a software reset while driving? Should I?
you asking me?
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna send us to someone to rescue us.
Oh. So Christmas. Oh. And we're back. Like nothing ever happened.
That clip was taken moments after I was freaking out even more so. The car randomly switched to FM radio from my Spotify. Volume was going up and down. Warning lights were flashing. It was saying park assist unavailable and a few other messages. So I ended up doing a software reset to try and fix it.
Okay, car has been completely bugging out, as you saw from the last clip. Maybe, I don't know. So to help stop the car bugging out, let's do a software reset, which you can do while driving. So pressing both scroll wheels on the steering wheel. The screen is now black. I don't know how fast I'm going. There's no music. I think the heat cuts out too. We're in the middle of, where are we? Battlesboro?
Vermont. Scary.
Yeah, so we're not in, nowhere near home, or even home base. It's pitch black outside. There is a supercharger, I don't know, 5 miles behind us. This usually takes a few seconds. Oh. Thanks, Elon. Alright, let's see. Oh, there's a fireworks store. TNT Fireworks. Shout out to them. Oh, and we're back in business. Oh, Phantom Fireworks. Is this like Firework Alley? Fireworks, buy one, get one, 1 mile down. I guess this is where people get their fireworks. Navigating without connectivity. Music isn't playing. Does say my speed, and it is, I guess, accurate. Alright, I guess we're good. Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Wish us luck.
Wish us luck.
Well, about 45 minutes later, you'll be pleased to know we did find something in the Walmart. Basketball shorts for me and a mismatched two-piece for my girlfriend. I'll save you the secondhand embarrassment and not show pictures, but believe me when I say we felt completely out of place wearing that getup around the resort. Having not accounted for this extra expedition, I wanted to stop at a Supercharger just to have that buffer back. From the Walmart in New Hampshire, we drove to the closest Supercharger, which was a hop, skip, and a jump away, just about 8 kilometers, right on the New Hampshire and Vermont border. Here, we encountered yet another glitch, this time with the navigation. I've experienced this many times in the last decade even, going back to my Evoto rental days in Montreal, where the car will just take you on the most bizarre route, or not know where you are, or completely ignore the fastest route. Just odd.
Look how dumb it is. Oh. Guess I'll hang right here. Well, I can't go under the bridge. Oh, you can hear my suspension creep there. Alright, back on track.
You'll see an even worse example of this towards the end of the trip during our last Supercharger stop. Just like the stop in Bennington, the Brattleboro Supercharger was just a quick stop and cost me $6 US or $8.87 Canadian. This location was the talk of the town when it first opened back in 2014 and created quite the controversy. I'll let you discover why in my full Supercharger review linked below if you're interested. Alright, so now with the car charged up a little, we can finally head back to the resort and jump into the pool. Not before driving another 40 kilometers, which wasn't too bad as our spirits were high and we're just excited to be done with all this driving. The following day was our big ski day, the whole reason for the trip. Unfortunately, there were high winds upwards of 60 miles an hour, and most of the lifts were closed for the majority of the day. But the views were nice, as you can tell, and we had fun regardless. It was in the back of my mind to plug in my car, but I wasn't really stressing all too much, and once the lift closed for the day around 4 p.m., I set off to find the chargers at the resort. They weren't located directly at the resort, but rather at the Sundance parking lot, just a 5-minute walk from where we stayed. There are quite a few EVs in the area. I saw an R1T out of my window the following morning, and when I got to my car, there was even a Lucid Air charging along my car, kind of a rare sight. As you might have noticed by now, we split the first leg of the trip into 2 driving days, but we only had 1 day for the way back. So we set off for our longest stretch of the trip, all the way to Verona, New York, which was 284 kilometers or 177 miles away. Of course, the journey came with its fair share of issues too. My heated seats have been working, but the sensors must be off or broken.
Why is my seat on 3 and the passenger seat on 1? They both should be auto. They both should be... Oh, now that one's off and this one's on 3.
Also, cruise control, autopilot, and my side cameras decided to malfunction. I even did a software reset, but nothing helped.
Alright, let's try to use cruise control. Alright, no problem. Alright, let's try to use autopilot. Also nothing. There should be a little over there. Let's check out the cameras. Both side cameras are not wanting to work. There's the right signal. There's the left signal. And there's a toot.
The stop in Verona was also open to other EVs with the CCS adapter integrated in the chargers, so there was a Rivian charging there, just like at our first supercharging stop of the trip. This location also had a delivery center / store nearby, so it was cool to see a bunch of cars parked up, presumably waiting for delivery. This stop cost me $15.60 US or $22.53 Canadian, and we even met a couple friends next to us that were also waiting for their owners to come back.
Oh.
Setting off on our last charging stop of the trip, my driver assistant features and cameras decided to work again, which was a bonus. The Verona Supercharger to the Victor Supercharger was about 180 kilometers away, and it was pretty problem-free. Once in Victor, we took our time and chowed down on some McDonald's. This stop was the second most expensive stop, coming in at $15.94 US or $23.06 Canadian, because I wanted to get enough charge to get to work the next day. Yes, I can charge at home, as you may know from watching my level 1 charging at home during the winter video, but we were in no rush at all. So we're here in Victor, New York. If I zoom out here, home is just across the border here, about 2 hours away. Why does it want me to go all the way back? Are we even crossing Vermont there? Then go into Quebec all the way back down. So what should be about 2.5 hour trip. It's currently, 4 p.m. Would be a 12-hour trip. Huh? Finally, from Victor, New York to home took a little over 2.5 hours and 213 kilometers, which also included the border crossing, of course. Well, that just about wraps it up. My car was completely filthy after this trip, so I gave it a wash the next day at work, so enjoy some footage of that while I break the trip down. In total, we drove 1,523 kilometers or 950 miles at the very least. I'd say it was closer to 1,550 or so with the couple extra pit stops and detours that we took that weren't really worth mentioning in this video. The grand total for supercharging came to $80.33 US, or in actuality, $117.67 Canadian. Naturally, it could have been much less than that had we not gone to the Walmart in New Hampshire, and given the hotel had a charger, I didn't need to charge as much and could have arrived with a lower stated charge. So would it have been cheaper to take my girlfriend's Honda Civic? Well, we might have also had problems with the infotainment system, as a few days after our trip, her screen was also bugging out, but that's besides the point. Her 2023 Honda Civic LX is said to have 31 miles per gallon in the city and 40 miles per gallon on a highway for a combined 35 miles per gallon. Considering we mostly drove highway-ish speeds, let's call it 37 miles per gallon. At the time of recording, the average price of gas in New York State was $3.223 for regular unleaded. So using this handy website, it would seem that we would have spent roughly the same amount to fuel either car. There is the argument that we spent more time to get to each destination when adding the charging stops, but as cliche and hack as it is, I gotta say I do enjoy stopping every 2 to 3 hours to stretch my gangly legs. So that's it. Thanks for watching. If you've been on a long road trip in an EV, I'd love to hear your experiences in the comments below. But on that note, we'll catch you in the next video.